Story now in KwaZulu-Natal. It's 2 months after floods devastated the province. Hospitals are still operating without water. Estcourt Hospital and Prince Mshiyeni Memorial Hospital without piped water. Nurses have been fetching water themselves to cater for patients' needs. eNCA's Lethiwe Mdluli joining us now for more on this story. Good afternoon, Lethiwe. What are the unions there saying about how they are going to address this situation?
Well, but then I actually had a chance to speak to Nehao and also nursing union Denosa a bit earlier on, and they provided an update on how these hospitals that were affected by the floods are operating. And it's good news, it seems, as running water has been restored in Prince Mshiyeni Hospital. And they are also saying that the situation in Estcourt Hospital has improved as water tankers are providing water to the hospital. But the unions are not happy with the aging infrastructure, saying that the floods would not have caused this much damage if the government was actually fixing the aging infrastructure around the city of Durban and also in KZN as a whole. They are urging government to look into that situation because it's been years, saying that these health facilities were built years ago and they do need to be refurbished and looked into. I spoke to the nursing union Denosa earlier on, who did share that they're also worried about the newly introduced water rationing in Ethekwini. You remember that a lot of areas around the city who were affected by the floods and the aging infrastructure being damaged there, the Ethekwini municipality has recently introduced this water rationing where these communities will have water for a certain amount of time during the day. And the Denosa is saying that health facilities are also affected, especially Prince Mshiyeni Hospital, because it's in Umlazi Township, which is an area that has been badly affected by the floods. They are saying that during the night the hospital is without water, and they are urging the government or the health departments in the province to make plans for this. While speaking to Mbali Sabela from the union, this is what she had to say.
Immediately after the floods, the situation was very bad. But then with a lot of interventions, and then the situation is much better now. Before, there were no even drinking water. They had no water. They had no running water. They have to fetch water from the JoJo tanks and bring the water to the wards and prepare water for patients. And they had no water at their residence. So they couldn't bath themselves or clean themselves or cook for themselves. And it was very stingy dirty here during the floods. But then the situation has subsided. Now the problem is there's a cut-off time of water. At 2100, the water is cut off at night until 4 a.m. And then during that time, imagine if someone is having diarrhea, that person will go up and down to the toilets and then using the dirty toilets. Then that creates the high number of cross-infection, because what's caused the problem also is the old infrastructure of water. They're saying they have a problem with hot water. At most of the time they have hot water. They do have cold water, they don't have hot water. Then that also creates a problem, because now they need to prepare hot water for patients so that they can bath patients. So that's where the problem is at the moment. The cut-off time of water during at night, and then there's no hot water during the day at sometimes. And then some sections you'll find that there's at A section there's water, at B section there's no water. So there's also that problem here at Mshiyeni at the moment.
So, Lethiwe, what are the unions calling for in terms of these challenges that they're facing?
They are calling for the department to have sound plans, because they're saying that it's been months since the floods, and it doesn't look as if the health department or the government in KZN has actually made any plans to make sure that the hospitals will not be affected moving forward. I spoke to Nehao a bit earlier on, who did express some concern with the flow of working in these health facilities, saying that nurses having to take a break from taking care of the patients and having to go and fetch water from JoJo tanks is not a plan, and they need the government to get involved. I spoke to Nehao a bit earlier on, and this is what they had to say.
Been receiving reports about the dire situation that the institution has been facing following the floods that took place, which damaged most of the infrastructure and which also affected the supply of water in this hospital. According to the report that we have currently, is that the situation has improved. But what is of the problem now is that because of the leakages that are there, because of the aging infrastructure, so from time to time there are water cuts when the institution has to attend to those leakages that are there in the infrastructure. So there is a problem that we are currently facing. But initially it was a huge problem because nurses were made to fetch water. You will understand that in a health facility, if the issue of water is a problem, then there's also an issue of infection that is compromised at the same time.
Okay, there we end that update from Lethiwe Mdluli in Durban.